Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the PLNR radio podcast. We're joined today by probably the most famous guy we'll ever have on the entire podcast, Mike Kaufman. Mike, how you doing, man?
Wow, what an intro.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true.
Mediocre at best. I'm better at it, but continue.
I'm doing well as you can do at a time like this.
Oh, wow.
But how you guys doing? Where you guys
We're,
at?
we're good. Nick's in South Carolina. I'm in Georgia. And I know, are you still in New York right now? You're in New York City?
Luckily, I'm out of New York City. I'm about an hour out of the city. My parents have like a little lake house about an hour from the city. So luckily, no one was there, and we rented a car, and we're here now, and it's definitely way better. New York City's crazy right now.
Yeah, it's nuts. I know the cases are insane, but so the first thing I want to ask you about is your college basketball and then leading into your pro basketball. So obviously, me and you played high school basketball, and then you decided to go play at Lesley University in Boston. So describe that experience, what it was like kind of going up there, because, you ended up staying around, New York now, but kind of a bigger city. So how that influenced you going there to play college?
Yeah, so Peyton got to see me play in high school. I was a pretty good high school player, but not quite good enough to really get recruited by top-notch schools, not even top-notch Division III schools, really, because my grades, I was like a B+ student. So I was really getting recruited by a bunch of like mediocre Division IIIs, to be completely honest. And Lesley did not have that good of a basketball program, but I love the location of the school. It was in Cambridge, like right next to Harvard, MIT, and like you could take public transportation to like go right down to downtown Boston, and like the campus was kind of spread out and like urban, and like you just walk out the street and there's like a pizzeria and Starbucks and everything. It felt like a city. So that's kind of what attracted me to the school, because as you guys know, like when you go to a Division III school, like either usually you're on some campus in some place far from a city. But I was like, wow, like you guys how far were you from Atlanta?
Probably 2 hours.
About
Yeah,
2 hours. We're up in the mountains.
yeah,
Yeah, we
exactly.
were nothing.
So it's like, it's like, I don't know what your guys' college was like, but it's like, if you have a big enough campus and a big enough school, then it doesn't really matter where you are. But my school was like 2,000 people, really small. So I was like, you know what? If I hate everybody at this school, there's literally 200 colleges within a 6-mile radius. So I'll probably make friends somewhere. But I ended up liking people at my school, so it was fine. But yeah, so I played 4 years there. A lot of ups and downs. Almost transferred at one point.
Did you? Where'd you want to transfer to?
Halfway through, I was just kind of miserable. My coach would, me and my coach would just, I don't know. He would just give up on me like this.
Uh-huh.
Like I would have, like throughout my whole career, I was like, okay, finally, like I'm going to be starting. And then like one bad game or one bad mistake, and then boom, just like as if nothing happened. But I mean, yeah, and it took me a while to get. You have to get adjusted to college basketball. Like it's a lot harder than people think. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, so halfway through, I was like, so my sophomore year, I actually had like a pretty decent year for a sophomore. I averaged like 8.5 points a game. Whatever, like 4 rebounds, shooting like over 40% from three. So I was like, that's pretty solid sophomore. I had like a really good game where I set the school record for most 3-pointers made in a game.
How many did you make?
And I made 8 out of 10.
Wow.
That's better than Peyton.
You want to hear my record, Mike? My record
let's hear
is
it. I love this record.
I have the most threes attempted in a game. I went 7 for 18 one game.
My God.
It was awesome.
Just put them up. Hope they drop, baby.
Your coach sounds like an idiot. He gave you the ultimate green. He gave you a green light. He gave you the green light like that. Oh,
Well,
man.
that was a year where I did have the green light. I was point guard, and I was just
So this was all conference, Peyton.
This is my all conference year.
Okay, I would have gave him a green light too this year. The other years, no. But this year I would have.
But anyways,
I love how you guys talk about like it's like all conference Peyton, like as if like we're talking about like the masked Mamba.
I'm not even. That was his best year in my opinion. Don't get me started.
What year was
his
it?
Best year, his sophomore year.
My sophomore year, I was all conference. In conference, I shot like 60% from three. It
Knocked
was
down.
like insane. And
Wow.
then my next year's my 3-point percentage went down, but everything else went up. So Nick thinks I was worse, but I
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah,
I didn't get all
definitely.
conference or anything. That was it.
Awards
Yeah.
and accolades, all that
Well,
matters.
like the college basketball season is like short enough in a way where like if you just like get hot and get rolling, then you can shoot like absurd. Like I remember the first half of my senior year, like I went into winter break shooting like 53% from three, and I was like, wow, I'm like the best shooter in the country. And then eventually, and then eventually that shit went down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I was saying is like halfway through, I was thinking about trying to walk on like a Division I team. I was like, you know what? Like I played D3, I got some minutes, like I got some game film. It would be cool to play at like a bigger, better school. So I remember like I don't know, I knew someone that knew Mike Jarvis, the coach at FAU, and we were
Yeah.
like trying to explore that, but like it never happened. And then like I don't know, one thing led to another. I just ended up staying, and I think it was fine. But my senior year I had a pretty good year, but I still never had a season like Peyton where I was all conference or anything like that.
But like you said, it was just like I got hot, like because I averaged 11 points a game when I was all conference. I was second team all conference. I averaged 11 points. Our team was really good that year,
Hmm.
and I was I was leading the conference in 3-point percentage by like a crazy amount.
How many
But
assists did you have? Did you pass the ball at all?
dude, I probably led the team in assists, but I had like average like 4 assists a game. It wasn't anything
Listen,
special.
point guard Peyton was score first. It was great. It was quite a sight to see.
I mean, he's built for the modern NBA game, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I should be in the NBA. I completely agree. But then, so after college, talk about what you did after that. And then I know obviously you went to play pro. When did you make that decision? Was it always in the back of your mind, like during your college career?
yeah. So I think like my freshman year of college, I found out that like if you're Jewish, then you can. Yeah, I'm Jewish. Peyton thinks that's funny.
No, I'm just
It's
laughing
funny to
because that
me.
was your first thought is I'm Jewish.
We love the Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I knew someone that was like half Jewish, but they were able to get their dual citizenship in Israel. And then and then you're not like with overseas teams, like every team, depending on what league you're in, has a certain amount of foreign players on each team. Some have like four foreign players, some have like two, but usually those foreign players are guys that, either are just like got cut from the NBA team or like, middle of the tier Division I guys that are like all conference. So it's like, I don't really fall in that category. My basketball, your basketball resume, you keep, like whether you're good enough or not, like if you don't have the resume, you're not going to get a look. But luckily, I was able to get my dual citizenship, and then at that point, you're just fighting locals for the job. I will say Israel's pretty good at basketball. Like, their Premier League is pretty solid. Nate Robinson played in that his the year after he was out of the NBA. Amari Stoudemire just won championships there. Um, and we know Maccabi Tel Aviv is like one of the best European. They're in the EuroLeague. They're one of the best teams in the world.
Mhm.
So there's like three leagues in Israel. The first league is the Maccabi Tel Aviv league. The second league is kind of like the developmental league. I'd say it's like you can just consider it like the G League. And then there's like the third league, which is all Israelis, no foreigners. So I was like, so I signed with an agent who is Israeli, and I met through this other guy that I know, and I just went over and he was trying to get me a deal just off my like college film, and he just couldn't get one. He's like, you're gonna have to come like try out with teams. So I took a one-way flight over there with nothing promised all the way across the
Wow.
world, and I just went over there, and there was a team that they thought they were going down to the third league, but it ended up last minute staying in the second league. So they were like late in the game and they needed people to fill their rosters. So luckily they were like in a desperate kind of place. And I just went out there and I just did really well in the tryout.
What was the tryout like?
I mean, it was just like normal drills, like
Like was it just like a combine tryout
Yeah, like
almost like you're
combine.
by yourself?
it was like a practice where you do like drills in the beginning and then like a controlled scrimmage after.
Okay.
And there was like probably like 20 guys or whatever, and then like by the end there was they made some cuts, and then they had the team, because at that point most players were already signed on teams, so it was kind of a lot of scraps that like weren't signed yet, but but yeah, I mean, and then so it was looking like I was like at the first the coach really liked me, um, and then like I don't know by like the first game like I fell out of that starting rotation, and I just had a lot of ups and downs as well. When I was out in Israel, I mean, I would get in the game for like some certain stretches. It was really unclear why I wasn't playing. I mean, I think like when you're like a Jewish American playing in Israel, it's like they have crazy expectations for you. Like they want you to be like twice as good as Israeli. But if you're like, 1.5 times as good, then they're like, I'm gonna go back to my guy that I've known and been coaching since I was like 3, since he was like
Yeah.
3 years old. So, you know, with basketball, like there's always going to be obstacles and politics and injuries and things that are out of your control, and it can be pretty mentally draining. So after my first year, it was like 8 month season. Being there, I didn't get to come home at all. I was just 8 months in Israel. Um, you know, it got to the point where I was kind of just like I would get put in the game for like 2-3 minutes at a time, and like either you might get a shot. If you get a shot, either you make it or you miss it, and then you're back on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the worst situation. But I actually hit a lot of shots in that kind of scenario. But yeah, after having a year like that, where I was kind of just like probably like the ninth man, barely getting in the rotation, I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm going to have to run it back. I'm going to have to get on another team. I can't go out like this. So then I went back and got on another team. Well, actually, my team actually finished like middle of the pack. Basically, when you play in like European leagues, like if you are the worst team in the league, basically there's 16 teams, right? And then the playoffs are a top 8 and a bottom 8. So we were in the bottom 8, and then when you're in the bottom 8 playoff bracket, you're fighting to stay in that league. If you lose the bottom bracket, you get delegated down a league. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if you win the top bracket, you go to the first league, which is really cool. I think they should do that with college basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
So we were in the bottom bracket, but then we ended up winning in that, and we stayed in the league, which is honestly what the team wanted. Like some teams, their goals are just to stay in the league. So then the next year, I found this other team. It was like South Israel, and same situation. Like everything was going good, and then all of a sudden, they're having money problems, and um none of us got the whole team didn't get paid.
Oh man.
And basically like the team was like going to court with like the state because they wanted more money from like I don't know, from the city rather.
Oh my
And
gosh.
like it was such a mess, and like I'd have to wait like 2 or 3 months without being paid to find out if we win. And if we won the court, then we'd get all the money and we would and everything would be fine. If we lost, the team would just like crumble mid-season. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I was just like, you know what? Like,
Not worth the risk.
I'm just bouncing. And I just left. And then I hadn't been back for a while. But yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks that that's how it ended for me. But so after that, I went back home. It was like January. It was like it actually came home. It was like the day before Christmas, December 2015. And then I was like, okay, I'll just coach locally for the next like 5-6 months and try to figure out what I'm going to do. And then, I had some like shitty offer to go back to Israel, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to explore something else here. Like I got a ton of jerseys. I got photos. I got videos. Like I did it. Like I lived abroad. I learned a lot, and it was like really still the best experience I've had, which I'm grateful for. And I was like, you know what? Let's just move on and see what happens.
So we
Sorry,
had like probably a week ago now, a kid me and Nick played with in college, a kid named Justin Valley Joe. He is like similar situation, just different area.
For real.
He got his parents are from France, or his dad's from France, so he has dual citizenship in Europe. And he started off in Italy. They were messing with his pay there, so he left.
Wow.
Came back here, then went to Spain.
Yep.
They're messing with his pay again. He comes back, goes to Austria this past year, and he's like,
wait, how many citizenships does he have?
he has
he has
European citizenship.
oh, the
Yeah.
European. That one's so
Yeah.
clutch. That one's
But
so clutch.
the thing with he's talking the same thing like you're saying. So he's like, yeah, so if I go to like Austria and I beat out an Austrian guy, like I'm getting destroyed if I have a bad game. And
Yeah.
he was going the thing with him is he was going over there, he was averaging 17-8 in like the top Austria league. He's
Wow.
he's disgusting. He's so good. But every situation he was in, being like a dual citizen, he was getting destroyed with money. Like
Exactly. And
eh,
the thing is like even when I mean, I don't know how much he's making, but like I wasn't making a lot of money, so it's like
can you share
yeah,
like what you're making or
yeah, I was making like $1,100 a month.
it's
Mm.
similar to what he was making. He was like
Mhm.
$1,200 a month.
It's like it's nothing, and like I mean, even if they pay for your apartment or whatever, like it's
Yeah.
still nothing. It's like it's you know, it's not a glamour like to get a paycheck to play basketball. You know, I'll never forget like when I opened up my first envelope, I was like, holy shit. But it's like that's the thing. I was just like, damn, like one, I'm tired of being really broke. Like I'm really tired of it. And like when I have like a college education and I think I could like, you know, make money one day. I'm tired of being broke, and like it's just like so much is out of my control right now, and like it just doesn't really make sense. So I think like I still feel like I basically decided I was like, okay, what's my goal? Like my goal would be to play the first league in Israel, right? And I really believed in my heart that I could get there, but I was like, it's gonna take a long time. Like one, you have to play here long enough where they like really respect you and they're like, okay, like he never gave up. Like, you know, he played in this team and this team and this team. Like, and then, you know, you're also hoping you don't get injured or something like that. It's like, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's going to take me at least like 3 to 5 years to get anywhere close to where I want to get. I'm like, by then I'll be like 30 coming back to America with like, you know, I don't know. It's like with no money in my pocket and like no, regular resume will be the same. And like, I'll be away from my family. And like,
Mhm.
I was like, it's just going to be too long. So I was like, I'm just going to come back and I'll figure out another way to keep basketball alive.
So yeah, going into that, like obviously, you know, you started Better Bounce and you work for Overtime now. How did that come about? And like, did it just start with almost like your obsession with dunking? Because I would call it an obsession, honestly. Is that how you kind of got back into it?
Yeah. So Peyton knows how crazy I am. And
Mhm.
like, before I got any recognition for anything, he was right there. I was probably making him film me and stuff.
Yeah, I filmed you dunk before. That's true.
100%. I mean, I drove Peyton back and forth to the gym and stuff like 100,000 times. So that's the least he could do for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, what was I gonna? Okay, so I mean, Better Bounce. I started in Israel because I was like bored out of my mind because I only had one practice a day, and I was like, you know, people are always asking me like, what do you do to jump higher? What do you do to jump higher? And I'm like, okay, what can I do to like one, you know, try to help people, but two, try to like do it where it's like scalable and I can get like a lot. Like I was just thinking like, how could I have like money coming in every month, even if it's like $100 a month? Because at that point, that would make a big difference.
Right.
Even if it's like $100 a month, like just coming in and like figuring out a way to like have like online training, because online training was like becoming a thing. This was like 2015. So I just like made a website and like I made a couple of different programs, and I decided like Instagram was like my best shot to like try to, you know, grow a following or, you know, get my main marketing platform to get people to know about this. And I just like really try to grow the account. Like at first I was just posting like the best like NBA dunks. Like every like and then like every 10th post would be like me. And then it'd be back to like NBA post, and I just like sprinkle myself
Subliminal
in.
messaging. Yeah.
Yeah, like just try to like I knew people didn't like I like the one thing with like social media or whatever is just like being honest. It's like I know no one cared about me. You know what I mean? No one cared
Mhm.
about me. So it's like how can I almost fool them into like wanting to be on this account, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And once you get
that's smart.
and then like sprinkle myself in more and more, uh and now like if you look at my account, like I only post me, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
it
it's
definitely was
really
like
annoying.
years and years. um but but yeah, I mean that was Better Bounce. Like that honestly didn't really take off until, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of hard to remember.
Do you have like
But
a post you did maybe like a dunk you posted that maybe got you like because you've been on you know you've been on ESPN at least once, I know, for a
All right,
putback
I want
dunk.
to tell the ESPN story because it's actually really funny, and
Oh yeah, I bet you do.
no, but it actually isn't as cool as it seems. So
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
actually doing myself. So I thought there's this gym in Manhattan called the 92Y,
Yeah.
and I used to play pickup there like on Saturday mornings, and I caught this putback dunk on this guy's back, right, and it was a really cool dunk, but it wasn't really good enough to be on ESPN. It was like, I don't know, like not other ton of Instagram accounts picked it up. It was just like a really good dunk, but like it wasn't like, oh my god, put that on SportsCenter. So when like ESPN like DM me and was like, can we have the rights to this video to post it on our like, platform or TV or whatever? And I was like, of course you can, sure. And
So
then
ESPN account DM'd you and asked for it.
yeah, well it was like
That's
ESPN assignment desk. It's like this one account, and then next thing I knew, ESPN, like the actual ESPN Instagram posted it, and then and it turns out the guy I dunked on
yeah.
works at ESPN.
No.
He's a producer, and his fucking coworkers wanted to ruin his life. So they're like,
No way.
we're gonna put this shit everywhere. Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
then there's like this clip, the morning show Get Up, or like
Yep.
Yeah.
or like
Mhm.
Jalen Rose. So
Mhm.
they played that, they showed it, and they're like, the guy getting dunked on is our very own producer, Nick Toots, or whatever his name was. And then Jalen Rose stood up and was like, "Are you kidding me? This is crazy that he dunked on you." Because the funniest thing is like I dunked on him, and then he like slapped me in the butt, like congratulating me. He was like the best sport. He was like the best sport. So I think he probably like saw it somewhere and like sent it to them, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna ruin your life right now."
Oh
That's
man.
really the only reason it went so crazy on ESPN. Is because I just
I
dunked on the guy.
It was a
I
producer.
I
Wow.
feel like that makes it an even better story. The fact that you just randomly happened to get that like stroke of luck and dunk on an ESPN producer. I feel like that's like so random to happen. But
It is. It's a cool story. But
so how often when you're doing your dunks, because you like to dunk off lobs a lot. So basically, what you
yeah,
do is you have to stop everybody in the gym and throw a lob to yourself and then do a dunk. How many times have someone like interrupted a dunk of yours?
a decent amount. But I'm getting old. I'm getting older now. I don't dunk as much anymore, Peyton. I don't. Like if I play pickup now, like let's say I play 2 hours of pickup, I'll dunk in between games like 3 times. That's it,
Yeah.
and everyone will
As
be out of the
a
way.
as
As
opposed
opposed
to
to,
back in the day
oh
when
yeah,
I remember when Mike was chasing in East Bay, so between the legs dunk,
yeah,
and this was like that's why I called it an obsession because it was literally like an obsession. I remember you either posted or you probably even texted it to me where you finally got it and you're like, dude, I finally got it. I was like, oh my god, it was
yeah.
like a month of doing it. But that if like your jumping went insane for like a couple years. So, but like, how did you come up with a better bounce program and like when you
Yeah.
first started it, like, and like tried to market and sell to people, did it like take off quickly? Did you get good feedback or how long did it take?
So so yeah, I mean, I've always been just experimenting with like jump programs and like strength training and like just trying to figure it out. And I mean, I'm still learning new stuff and doing different things. And like, and now like, I honestly don't sell as many jump programs now because like, I don't know. I just feel like, not that it's like scammy, but it's like, I don't know. It's just not really like a one size fits all type of
For
thing.
sure.
So I haven't been pushing it as hard as I used to. But but yeah, I mean, with my training, like I've always I've just always been practicing like low rim dunks when I was a kid. So I think that really helped with like jump technique and like dunk skill. Like dunking is a skill. So it's like you got to get your dunk
Yeah.
skill up, and then like you can only jump as high as like as good as your jump technique. Like you can get a lot done by just practicing jumping. And then there's like the little things. And then there's just like being strong. Like at the end of the day, like jumping is, how much force you can put into the ground like in the shortest amount of time. So that's why like there's certain guys that like they can squat like 500 pounds, but like they don't jump high because like they're strong, but they're not able to like uh you know generate that force quick enough. So it's
Yep.
like for someone like that, it's like, okay, like you don't need to get stronger. Like you need to do like more fast twitch stuff and more like reactive explosive work like depth jumps or different variations of plyometrics. But But yeah, I mean, for me, like I've always just been going back and forth between trying to like get stronger or jump higher. Now, like I'm 27 and like I I don't know. I've had like knee tendonitis and stuff. Like right now, I'm just trying to be healthy and maintain what I got and have some LeBron longevity.
You're
That.
27.
Yeah, bro. How
That
old are you?
that's so weird to me because I was a freshman when Mike was a senior. You were always younger, but I'm 25.
That's crazy.
So
Wait, Yeah, that's why. That's another example of why I should have been like Division 1 because like,
yeah, you used to say that a lot. You're like,
Cal,
oh, if I would have stayed back a year, like, oh.
nah, I don't know if I would have been Division 1, but like Calvin Klein was like literally the same. He was the same age as me, and he was 4 grades below me.
I know that sounds like a made up name, Nick, but we did play with a kid named Calvin Klein.
I thought we were
He
talking about the clothing.
no, he actually
Nah,
played tight end at like I don't know Virginia Tech or something.
yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Um, but yeah, we kind of went off in a tangent here. What were we
So
saying?
we're talking about Better Bounce, but then like obviously, when did you make the decision to move to New York City? And did you have something like set there, or did you kind of just move out there?
So, um, so I knew like I wanted to go to one or two places. I either back to Boston because I still had friends there from college and I love the city, or New York because I'm originally from New York and my parents are, and like growing up I would just always be in the city. My dad still works in Manhattan even though he lives in Florida, and my sister lived in New York City, at the time. So, I always like in my head when I was a kid, I was like, I know I'm going to live in New York City one day. So it was kind of just like, imprinted in my brain. But I didn't have anything lined up. I kind of decided I wanted to move to New York in the summer while I was still coaching in Boca and in Florida, and I had a couple of job interviews. I flew up for them, didn't get the jobs, and I was like, all right. Like the reason I was able to just move up there with no job is because like my dad has like an office in Manhattan with like pull out couches as beds.
Hmm.
So I just went there and started crashing there.
Wow.
Um, rent free, which in Manhattan, living rent free is like the greatest asset you could have because
I
rent is
bet,
so
yeah.
expensive. So I mean, it wasn't ideal because basically my dad like rents out the office space to like therapists, and they come in and they have sessions as early as 8 in the morning. So by like 7 a.m., I got to be out, fold the bed, make sure nothing's out. Like no one could know that I was living there. So I would wake up at like 5 a.m. every morning, freaked out that like I slept through my alarm or something, and I
Yeah.
was just freaked out because it's an office, so it was kind of stressful, but yeah, so I was able to move there with no job and just try to figure out how to made a way to make it work. And I came across overtime. At the time, overtime. No, that was weird. At the time, overtime was not. They were not even anything like we are now. It was like an app. It was a company that had an app that they wanted you to upload your own sports highlights, and you could like
Like
do cool.
Huddle?
You could do no, because it wasn't like like Huddle's like you game film. This was like, oh, you
Like
film
you
the
dunking on an
yeah,
ESPN producer?
yeah. Like I dunked at the gym. Like Peyton films me dunking at the gym, and then I upload it to the Overtime app. I can add like slow mo or add these
Mm,
different effects. It was basically like how can we make, or you could put like music on it, just like a video editor for people that don't know how to edit videos, right? And then from there, you can upload it on your Overtime profile on the app, and you could also post it like on Instagram, and it had like the Overtime watermark on it.
mhm.
And then like so whatever. At that point, that's what Overtime was. And I came across it, and I messaged the president of the company, and I was like, I didn't see that they were hiring, so I just messaged him, and I was just like, hey man, like I just played professional basketball in Israel, like I have a background in like filming and editing, um, and I'd love to like see what you guys are all about and work and potentially work with you guys. And then I went over, I had a meeting with him, and and then they gave me this like assignment, this like video editing assignment, and I just like did well on it. And then they're like, okay, we'll hire you like part time, and which was like $400 a month, which also isn't enough. Like I was like, damn, like this is great. Like I got a job in sports because it's really hard to get a job in sports, especially in New York with no experience.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, like at least I'm getting some experience, but I still got to find a real job. So I was like, I still need a full-time job. So I found this other startup. It's called Self-Made, and I started working there, and I started working just 2 jobs. Well, 3 if you count Better Bounce. So I had like 3
Mhm.
jobs, and like my main job was at Self-Made. It was like this startup, and I was doing like customer service, basically like customer experience, and it was just like it was a grind. It was like 60 hours a week or more maybe, and then I'd do like 10 hours a week for overtime, and then like I had met my girlfriend Lauren here. She lived in New York, and I was just like, I don't know. That first year in New York was crazy. And then after 14 months of grinding with 3 jobs, overtime raised money and was able to offer me a full-time job. And then I quit that other job and went to overtime because I just loved everyone there and loved, what overtime was doing. And then, so I was like the 15th full-time employee. And then, yeah. And now we've grown to like almost 100 employees in the last 2.5
Wow.
years.
Do you remember how many followers Overtime had when you first started there, as opposed to now? What are you at, like 2 million now?
I think we're at 3 million.
Jeez.
But the craziest
Gosh,
shit is
that's
that
awesome.
we have 8 million followers on TikTok.
On TikTok?
Yeah, we're the
Oh,
biggest sports
man.
account on TikTok. How many
Yeah, I'm not on
followers
TikTok.
that's a good question. How many followers did Overtime have when I started? I think it was like 100,000, maybe.
That's crazy.
Maybe less, honestly.
So basically what you're saying is you're the reason for Overtime success.
I'm not the reason, but I'd like to think I had a pretty big impact, especially on the social media side, because that's like that's a squad, that's a team that I'm on.
So what is it, like a slow transition from like this editing app to what it is now?
So basically, so Overtime was like using social media as a way to like get people to download the app. And in the process, I think we just like we started grow like our social media was just good, so people were following it, but
Mhm.
people didn't really care about the app, but they just wanted to follow us. And then like the whole like Jelly Fam thing happened in New York City, and we were like, we're gonna go out there, and we were just out there filming street ball in New York City, and we saw people were crazy about it, and we are just like, wow, like people are crazy about like, amateur basketball. Um, and this isn't even these aren't even the best players because New York doesn't even have the best players. So we're like, what if we?
Who
So
has the
what if we
best
just?
players then?
Who has the best player? Like I mean, who is the best high school player? I'm thinking like high school players.
Yeah, who was the best high school player? New York isn't up there? I mean,
No, New York's not up there. They fucking suck.
okay, then tell me who's up there.
Think about it. We've had like Lance Stevenson and Sebastian Telfair and Stephon Marbury in the last like 30 years.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're talking about pro prospects. I mean,
I'm saying like North Carolina, South Carolina, California has fucking hoopers too.
okay. All right, go ahead.
That's where the money's at. Like that's where I would put all my money if I, you know what I mean. But so I think they just, like our CEO Dan Porter, he's just really smart, and he really wanted this app to work, and it just didn't. And he was like, all right, it doesn't work, but there's definitely something here with like, filming high school basketball players, especially now. The landscape was changing where like, you have a guy like Zion Williamson, like where like he's so exciting that like you'd rather watch him play in high school than watch like 99% of the NBA. And these kids like the Ball family, they have like it was like LaMelo Ball was like or had 4 million followers when he was like 15. Like so it's like he has more followers than like anyone on the Knicks. So it's like what and he's so much more accessible because all of us can go to the games, if we have a good enough relationship with him, maybe we could work with him in person as well. So we just kind of tapped in, and we knew like people have been covering high school sports, right? Like
Yeah.
ball, like we all been watching Ball is Life, Hoop Mixtape, Mars Reel, whatever, these companies. But the thing these companies failed to do, and they still are just failing at it miserably, and it's crazy to me, is like eventually like highlights don't get the job done. You have to tell stories. You have to have storytelling in your content, and you have to have like you have to have programming like a network would where you have different shows and like all they did is like day in the life, and like those are cool, but like eventually you want to see something longer, like more episodic and stuff like that. So what Overtime did is like we definitely do highlights, like we cover so many different high school players and we're covering them all the time, but we have shows with them. Like I don't know if you guys have seen, we have like a reality show with like Julian Newman's family, and then we have like Mikey Williams has a new show called Fear Nothing. Have you watched that show? Any of you guys? If you haven't, it's
No.
okay. It's pretty dope though. But it's like you guys know who Mikey Williams is, right?
I do, yeah.
15-year-old. Seems like he's the real deal.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Like kids these days are just overall athletic, but
It's
yeah,
crazy.
he's crazy.
I mean, he scored 77. I mean, he's not playing in the best league, to be honest. Like,
No, yeah, that doesn't impress me.
I mean, he scored 77 in a game. That's pretty impressive. He's 15. He's kind of jumping out of the gym.
Yeah,
But
he's
only like 6'2". But I mean, anyways, like I don't know where I'm going with this, but but yeah, one way or another, we like started to go. You know, we were short form video, like highlights, and then we realized that you can get more followers and more people caring about you with short form like highlights, but you in order to make money and get like your content sponsored by brands, like you need to have more longer form storytelling. So then we started growing out our production team and figuring out ways to do more longer form content. And yeah, it's just kind of taken off for us. And we have shows
awesome.
like on YouTube, Snapchat. You know, we've had some really good football shows as well. Like we do football, basketball, esports.
Oh, my brother would love that.
I don't really understand. I don't really understand. I still don't get how kids want to watch other kids play video games. I don't understand.
It's pretty mind blowing.
Like growing up, I did not want to watch anyone play.
All right, so we got like a minute left. I know Nick probably has some stupid question for you, so go ahead, Nick.
Every podcast, I just ask random "Would you rather" questions, and this one just popped my mind. Would you rather be 4'8" or 8 feet tall?
Ooh, that's tough. Being 8 foot tall is tough.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's 4'8".
How tall is 4'8"? 4'8" is like
that's short, man.
I don't know. I mean, like it is short, but like you could still wash your hands in the sink and stuff, right?
I think so.
I'm thinking of it like in a practical way, like
yeah, I'm being 8 foot.
It's actually really messed up. Like if you're like, I don't know what the right word is, the politically correct word is, but if you're really short, like 3 feet, whatever, like
right,
it's fucked up. Like you can't sit on the toilet in a public bathroom.
Wow.
Like we don't even think about that. Like you can't you can't wash your hands.
I don't think about that.
You can't like it's really screwed up. And then like I mean, if you're 8 feet, like you just get looked at like you're a freak. You can't walk anywhere. Like you're gonna hit your head on something every single day. And people, if you're not good at basketball, people think you're like literally a failure to life.
Yeah.
So what are you choosing?
4'8". You're going 4'8".
I mean, the thing with 4'8" is like it is very, very short, but there's definitely like another 4'8" woman out there who you could fall in love with. Whereas like and you could probably have, you probably could have kids.
You don't have to be the same height as the person you love.
Yeah, you don't have to be, but like no, and there's plenty of happily married couples out there where the woman is taller than the man.
Right.
But we're
go ahead, Mike.
So like 4'8" is on the cusp of like really, really short.
Right.
But 8 feet. I mean, think about it. If you're 8 feet, you're 4 inches taller than Taco Fall.
Yeah, and that's insane.
That's insane. So, I mean, you're not going to be able to find clothes anywhere. You're not going to be able to find sneakers that fit you. Like your swag.
Everything's custom made. Yep.
Yeah, your drip is going to be terrible.
So if you're 4'8", it's going to be terrible too. You'd have to shop at kids stores.
Size. No, that's amazing.
That's not.
It's cheaper. Are you kidding me? You're like
styles.
You get to buy the LeBrons in a kid size. I mean, it's kind of like winning the lottery. You get like a 50% off discount every time you go out.
You think being 4'8" is like winning the lottery?
No, it's not. It's not like winning the lottery. No. I'm saying, okay, think about this: driving. Just put a couple phone books on. Just put some phone books on your seat, and you're able to drive. Maybe I don't know. Can you reach the floor? But if you're
you can have a custom car.
But if you're 4 inches taller than Taco, you can't fit in any car.
So either way, what Nick just said, you're gonna have to customize your car no matter what.
I'm gonna go 4'8", and I'm gonna live in this little. I'm gonna live in my own little mansion and live.
There's those little houses too. I think I would pick 4'8" too. I think 8 feet is ridiculous, or like it'd be too hard to live.
I'm going 8 foot because it gives me a chance to play in the NBA. Like you definitely have a chance.
You're not athletic enough, bro.
I
don't know if I'm 8 feet.
Well, here's the thing. Like tall people like that, like they always have like complicated health problems.
Yeah. Do you know who
Longevity.
you know who Kenny George is?
Yeah, didn't he die?
He didn't die, but he had his foot amputated. He was a 7'7" dude, played for UNC Asheville. And
Oh, really?
he
I
played
know, he
against
was
like
tough. He would just-
Tyler
he would just
Hansbrough
dunk.
dunked on him.
Oh, that guy.
But,
He had his foot
yeah,
amputated?
Yeah, his foot amputated just because he was so big. He didn't do anything wrong. He was literally just too
Oh,
big.
my gosh.
Yeah, blood. I guess blood just wouldn't circulate far enough or something. I mean,
But,
Yao Ming's career got ended early. Like, I mean, I feel you. Like, I kind of want to be 8 feet. Then I don't know. It's really tough.
It's a tough one.
So Nick, you're
I
saying
asked the hard ones.
that was a decent one? 4'8" is just like 4'8". So if I see someone on the street who's 4'8", I'm like, wow, that dude's a loser. Like that's my first thought
Oh,
immediately.
my God.
Now
That's like what's the right word now for that? It's not anti-Semitic. It's,
anti little person. You could
Yeah,
say.
you're just actually an asshole. Like,
But then if I see someone who's 8 feet, I'm like, oh my God, that's a scary. Like I'd be intimidated. You know, I wouldn't be like, that's a loser.
I feel you. No, it's true. You're gonna get bullied. You're gonna get bullied as a 4'8" guy. Where if you're 8 feet, you're just gonna get weird attention that's annoying.
Yeah.
Look at that
So
tall loser over there. I'd bully you, Peyton.
That's what Nick. Would you want to be any taller? Nick is 6'7". So would you?
No,
want to be any taller?
I think my height's perfect because like I'm tall, but I'm normal still. I feel like.
Would you rather be Boban or Muggsy Bogues?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say Muggsy Bogues because he's in the NBA and
Boban's in the NBA.
Boban.
Yeah, but
what
if
was
they're both in the NBA. There's not like I have to pick or choose NBA based off height. And Muggsy's
okay.
Muggsy
Honestly,
was
I
better
think
than
going Boban.
Boban's gonna end up getting. He's gonna end up getting more money probably.
Than Muggsy? Well, yeah, just based off the time period, but.
Muggsy probably had to go through so much more trials and tribulations to get in the NBA. Boban's tall. I like the easier route.
And Boban was in John Wick, but Muggsy.
That's true. I'm also an actor. Oh, he's
Muggsy
Bogues in
Space
Space
Jam.
Jam.
Dang it!
There is no
forget about that.
clear-cut answer. Both the same.
This is tough,
Right.
man. This is tough.
Mike, I also have one last question about you obviously have a ton of followers on your Better Bounce account. How many times when you post a dunk video does someone say you should play in the NBA?
Yeah,
That's a serious question.
I get those. You know, people DM me too, and they're like, "You should be in the NBA, or you should try out for a G League team." I don't know. I'm just honest with them. I'm like, hey, when they're like, "Why aren't you in the NBA?" I'm like, "I'm not good enough." I'll just say that straight up because I'm comfortable with that, and I know that if I was supposed to be in the NBA, I'd probably be in the NBA or whatever.
Humility. I like it.
Yeah, like I mean, I want them to understand that like they look at me like I'm really, really good, and that's great. But there's people that are just so much better than me, and I want them to have that understanding. Because when you like play in high school and you like start on your team, you think you're so good, but like no one cares that you're playing in your little town in Alabama, and like the dudes over there, like they're gonna kill you when you play them in college. So get to work. That's kind of how I feel. You know,
that's a good answer, but
yeah.
But yeah, a decent amount. I mean, I also get a ton of comments of people being like, "You aren't that good of a dunker."
That's my next question. You get a lot of hate. You get any like DMs that are like attacking you at all?
People are like, "Yo, like you don't even jump that high. Like I don't understand why you have this account." And I'm like, yeah, like I get it. Like sometimes my dunks don't look that great, and like sometimes I look like I'm taller than I am. Like sometimes my dunks look like I'm like 6'3", but like I really am 6 foot without shoes on and like 6'1" with shoes on. And like, I don't know. I've never met a white guy that can do dunks that I've done at my height. Really. I haven't seen it too much. So I consider myself, I know I'm in the top 1% of human beings dunking.
All right. Just relax, man. Okay.
That's all you need. Just throw that comment out.
No, I'm serious. Like, I mean, if we talk about Caucasian people that are under 6'3", I'm in the top like 0.005%.
The only other one I can think of is the dude who was in the college dunk contest, Tucker. What's his name?
Yeah, no, he jumps higher than me. No, I'm saying, but think about how many Caucasian people there are in this fucking world. There's like how many? I mean, I'm gonna Google
Stop saying Caucasian to me too. Just say white.
How many white? Hey,
he's right. I'm 6'7". I can barely dunk. You know,
yeah,
you're 6'7".
Yeah, man.
How many white people in the world?
Googling it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the U.S. How many people in the How many white people in the U.S.? So we have 300 million people in this country, right?
I thought it was more.
Why can't we? Why is it so hard to find this out?
The census isn't out yet. I think we just did the census.
Well, there's
so-
an older census.
No, that box
Uh,
wasn't in the last census.
Here we go. Here we go. So, oh my God, we're so white. We're such a white country.
Yeah.
234 million white people. Okay.
Wow, that's a lot.
Out of
So
300
so-
million?
so right now you're able to name one guy that jumps higher than me in your head. That's
Where do you get that stat from? Is that?
I don't.
okay.
Wait, 234 out of.
so.
Out of
what I'm-
300?
So what I'm saying I'm like 1 in a million, but the truth is I'm really like I'm like 1 in 100 million.
Oh man.
Well,
That's cool.
I'll agree. You're definitely a rare commodity, but to go out on this limb and say that you're 1 in 100 million.
No, I'm
You
saying,
can't name anybody else. I'm on his side.
Here's what I'll give you. So white, you're Jewish.
Jewish.
which is nuts.
Well, that
okay?
puts me in a whole nother world.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I'll give you
definitely-
1 in 100 million for that. But further than that, I don't know.
It's just like my whole thing is I'm saying this is the answer for the person who's like, why do you have his account? It's like
Yeah.
it's like no, like I'm not the highest jumper in the world, but I'm saying for like the cards that I've been dealt, there hasn't been too many situations like this.
Yeah,
So
you should
maybe
change.
if you follow me, you could learn a couple things, and then that could and it could benefit you. You know.
I would agree, dude. I would also say with your dunking, watching you dunk for a long time, I'd say, you definitely don't jump. You jump really high, but it's your hands are quick. Like
Yeah.
your ability to do like windmills and like between the legs, that's what's like, I think
Yeah, like-
separates you from a lot of people.
Yeah, like my head is not above the rim. You know what I mean? Like
No.
it's not. There are guys my size in the world that get their head by the rim and it looks fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And those guys are better dunkers and are higher jumpers than me. But I'll cook them in actual basketball. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
know, man. You kind
That's
of
all
just you kind of just play at the 92nd Street Y. And I don't know if you're getting.
Bro, I'm the best I've ever been right now. I'm ready. I wish that we could play basketball skinny P because I'll just continue to body you like I used to when you were a kid.
No, I
And
definitely
I'll
weigh more. I
record
definitely
it.
weigh more than you right now. So
You weigh more than me?
guaranteed.
No, you
How much
don't.
you weigh?
I weigh 190 pounds.
Okay, I weigh 202 pounds.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
He's
How tall are
not
you?
skinny P anymore.
How tall are you?
Same height as you, 6'1".
Damn.
So why don't you figure
Are you
out
fat?
another way
You're
to
just
beat
got,
me?
You just got fat?
Yeah, I just eat ice cream every night, and I'm very sad. But
A whole box
No.
of Peeps.
no, but yeah, I mean, you can't body me anymore. So I'd
So
love
you just
to play you
so you
one-on-one,
just went
dude.
in the weight room. So you lost your first step. You have no quickness now. And you're
It's
just,
the
That's true.
opposite.
The
I'm
touch isn't there
basically-
anymore either.
I'm I'm basically exactly the type of person you would want. Okay, like super powerful, just strength wise, but then fast twitch. Like it's like what am I? Like people look at me, they're like, what is this guy? You've never seen anything like it. See Nick shaking his head because he's like, yeah, that's Peyton.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Peyton. You know, I've always been a fan. But I mean, you've never been able to beat me one-on-one.
When have we played one-on-one? The last time we played
when you were a
one-on-one was probably
freshman, he was a senior.
when I was 140 pounds and Mike was probably 180.
All right, man. Well, we got to make it happen. I mean, I don't know the next
I
time.
would love that.
I don't remember the next time. Any of us will be able to play basketball at this point. But
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. I'll sign us off real quick. We can keep talking, but thank you guys for joining us on the PLNR Radio Podcast. Thank you very much, Mike, for joining
Thanks,
us.
Mike.
thank
You're
you
the
guys.
man.
It was
Shout
a
out
pleasure.
overtime.
It was a pleasure.
Shout out overtime.
overtime.
Oh yeah, that's
There
okay.
you go.
Nick,
that-
you got to do that.
Everyone throw
Put
them
them
I
together.
together.
have my
Uh-oh.
phone in my hand. I can't.
Damn it.
All right, appreciate it, Mike.
Appreciate you guys.